everyone. I hope you are really well. I am really well. I got a nice little note from a YouTube watcher, Our Blessed Mom, who asked how I'm doing after my hysterectomy. I really appreciate you commenting and asking. That was really sweet. I really encourage anybody to comment below, ask questions. I really appreciate that. So she watched an older video. Let's see which one she watched. 3 weeks into recovery. Wow. So yeah, so now I am almost 2 years after my hysterectomy surgery, which was August 31st, 2021, if I remember correctly. So it's going to be 2 years next month. So yeah, I'm giving a little update. So my update is I am fantastic. Fantastic. I hope this light is in the right place. I am fantastic. I am so fortunate that my hysterectomy did cure my problem. My problem was adenomyosis, wasn't it called? I used to know. I was trying not to remember the name. But it was my uterus had become thick in the wall and muscly. And so there was extra veins feeding the muscle tissue. And it caused my uterus to grow and get thick and soft, I think is what my surgeon described it. And so it wasn't able to flush out correctly. So it just squeezed and squeezed and squeezed all the time. I had contractions very often. You know, I guess I never had a kid, so it would contract. It was like with getting your period. You know, it was crampy. I was crampy a lot. It was very painful cramps. I was taking ibuprofen and aspirin continuously. Sorry about my hair. Let's see. I bled just horrifically. So much bleeding, huge clots, terrible bleeding. It was horrible, and it was for quite a few years, at least 4 years, I think. I was not getting a proper diagnosis. The proper diagnosis came when I finally researched and got my own doctor. I researched an expert for menopause because I was 57 at the time. Now I am almost 60. Can you believe it? But I was 57 and I was waiting for menopause because everybody's, people said, if it's this problem or that problem, like a fibroid or something is what my then OBGYN thought it was, then menopause should fix it. But I was not hitting menopause apparently. So I researched a menopause expert in Seattle, even though I live in an hour south, Olympia, Washington. And I Googled, I got the name of a doctor that I kind of researched. And then I called the University of Washington Women's Clinic at Harborview in Seattle, and I asked if they were on my insurance, if she had opening, and she did. I called my insurance and double checked if they were covered. Otherwise, you're screwed because they won't pay for it. But it was covered. She had openings. I got really lucky, and I got an appointment. When I got an appointment, she said that my previous treatments were not correct for a person of my age, and she also suggested an internal ultrasound, internal vaginal ultrasound to try to get a clear picture of my uterus. And I was having problems. I tried some hormones. Nothing was working. I went up on kind of an emergency basis after that because I was just bleeding horribly. I was anemic. I was getting intravenous iron treatments because I was so anemic from all the bleeding. They scheduled me up there on an emergency basis, and I asked for that ultrasound that she had mentioned, and they scheduled me in on that emergency appointment. I got in. It was and it was the radiologist from that intravaginal ultrasound. I saw on the report that came up on the web chart, the radiologist diagnosed it right there when they read it, adenomyosis. I'm like, what is that? So I Googled, So thank goodness that was the problem. It wasn't endometriosis, it wasn't a fibroid, and it wasn't cancer, as far as we knew so far. So I finally had a diagnosis, and I kept having problems. Finally, I had a telehealth appointment with that expert doctor, and she said, at this point, at your age, this is just ridiculous. Like, this should not be happening at your age, she said. And, at this point, she was kind of concerned that it might be cancer, and they just couldn't see it. So I'm like, okay. And she said, I think you should get a hysterectomy, which had been recommended years before, but I didn't have a diagnosis. So why have a hysterectomy? I thought. He's like, give me a reason, a good reason, but you haven't given me a good reason yet. So, and I really didn't want surgery at all. I didn't want a hysterectomy at all, especially if it was not needed. But when this finally came up, she said that, and she was the expert. By this time, I had Googled enough. And I said, okay. I was crying. I did not want surgery. I was scared of surgery because I'm single. I didn't know if I'd be able to take care of myself. I was very scared. I did not want surgery, but I did not want cancer either. So I said, okay, I have a diagnosis now. The expert wasn't even sure what was completely going on, and it could be cancer. I'm like, okay. So I did. I scheduled the surgery. We thought I could get a laparoscopic, with just a couple holes and everything in there. And up until my pre-surgery appointment, that's what I was under the assumption. But then they said no, they couldn't do it laparoscopically because my uterus was too big, because this condition caused it to get big apparently, and she said she couldn't do it laparoscopically. It would have to be a cut in the abdomen, a full hysterectomy where they cut you open, take it out. And I didn't want that, so then I was upset again. But then I researched some options, and I asked her to consult someone on that, and they came back and said, yeah, you cannot do this laparoscopy. So I'm like, okay. So I went in, I got a full hysterectomy, which means they cut me open down here and took out the uterus and stitched it up. They also took out my cervix. She said it's best to do that, and I said okay, because in the past, I've had weird pap smears, so okay. And I said I just want to be able to do everything I can do, lift weights and deadlift 200 pounds was my goal. I want to be able to deadlift 200 pounds, I kept telling her. She's like, okay. And she said she was able, because it was that kind of surgery, she was able to really sew it really strongly that way. Anyway, the surgery went well. My ovaries stayed in because my doctors wanted me to have natural hormonal changes rather than just yank those out, which is good. So I stayed in the hospital one night. I went to my brother and sister-in-law's for that week, and every day I sort of recovered a little more, and took little baby steps on seeing what I could do, what I couldn't do, trying to get better. And by that, I think surgery was Monday. I was overnight in the hospital Monday night. I went to their house Tuesday, and I came home, I think Thursday. I was ready to go back to my own house by myself. So that was better than I expected, the recovery. It was painful. It was difficult. It was ups and downs, and I have videos of my recovery. Sorry, I'm going over all this again, but now it is 2 years almost later, and I am doing fantastic. The surgery was the right thing. That was the whole problem. There was no cancer. Once the uterus was taken out, that was the end of the problem. So I'm fixed, and I'm so happy about it. I finished recovering. It took me, I don't know, 3 to 6 months to a year to get full recovery. 3 months, let's see, 6 weeks, I think they tell you can go back to doing your thing. 9 weeks, I was feeling comfortable in actually doing my thing, which is including running and weightlifting and stuff. I still had some tender, I still took things very carefully. I think by 6 months I was pretty healed, and now I'm totally healed. Like, I can tell there's no more, am I healed? Am I not healed? No, I am healed. And I'm doing great. I'm doing so much better than before because I don't have anemia anymore. I don't have bleeding anymore. Thank goodness. That was horrible. So now I, have all my red blood cells, all my oxygen in my cells. So I'm healthier and I have more energy than before. And, I am great. The only thing that has been a lasting change is when I go to the gym and lift weights. Like, you sit in a leg press machine, you sit and then push the weight up this way horizontally. Is that vertically? Horizontally and vertically. It's pretty vertical. It's kind of at a 45-degree angle, vertical leg press where you sit and you push your legs up, push the weight up. And that hurt after my hysterectomy. Like, that did not feel comfortable. It felt burning. I felt like I was maybe on the verge of causing injury internally. So I just decided no more leg presses like that. No more vertical leg presses. Nope. And I gave it up. With the gym I'm at now, I don't really like their machine anyway. It's not a very good one. And I can do other things instead. So I stopped that kind of sitting vertical leg press. It just did not feel right. It felt kind of dangerous. Like something was not working correctly with that after the surgery. But other than that, I am back to doing everything. I run, I lift weights, and I got my 200-pound deadlift 2 times. 2 occasions. So yay. So I'm stronger. I am more energy. I'm doing much better, much better. Everything is great. So I'm relieved. I'm so relieved. Knock on wood. And yeah, that was what I needed to do. Once I knew I had a reason for it, it was the right thing to do. I had good surgeons. I had a great clinic and a great team. And I took 6 weeks off, I think, to heal. And I'm really glad I did. I was fortunate, able to do that and just concentrate on my recovery, just stay focused, taking little bits at a time. And I gave myself that time to recover. So I was really fortunate. I'm turning 60 in September, which is really crazy. So, I thought I would be really sad about, I feel kind of less of a woman, but I don't. I don't even feel a difference in my tummy, not having a uterus anymore. I'm freer without any stupid bleeding. And so I guess I'm officially now in menopause, and my hormones finally caught up to menopause. I think I was probably in menopause before because I had a lot of symptoms. Right after the surgery, I had kind of small hot flashes. I've noticed my body has some changes now. I'm a little more, kind of flabby in areas I didn't used to be. But after about a year, and now 2 years, my hormones have really leveled off finally for the first time in, I don't know how long, like years and years and years. Like I am hormonally okay, which is really great. Like I didn't have huge problems with menopause. I had probably been going through it during this experience, but it was this condition kind of disguised that because right afterwards I had small hot flashes for a while. I had night sweats for a while. Could feel my hormones kind of, but now I feel really even hormonally, and I don't have those hot flashes except maybe rarely. I don't really have the night sweats anymore. So I feel really evened out. And it just letting myself get used to kind of a new kind of phase in body stuff. But I'm working on that in terms of body acceptance and what's happening and how to exercise, how to rest, how to eat, things you figure out at different stages along your life. But I am doing fantastic. So thank you for asking. And this is to let anybody know that is facing a hysterectomy coming up. In my particular case, everything was great. It fixed me. I'm so much better. I was way past childbearing years anyway, so I didn't mourn possible childbearing, which I never really wanted children anyway, and I don't have children. And I knew I was way beyond childbearing age anyway, so that wasn't a loss for me. But if you're a young woman, that would be something maybe to grieve. But I didn't have to grieve that. I kind of did some pre-grieving, I think, because of all my pre-surgery fears and worries and anticipation. And the scar is just a slight line now. And I'm not really worried about it because I'm not showing my tummy up to anybody really. Menopause changes my tummy. It's not as flat like it used to be. So until I have a flat tummy again, but I don't even care. I don't care. I might have cared at a much younger age, but I'm fine. I mean, I am healthy, I'm strong, and I am fine. So I'm happy and I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I hope you all are well. Any other questions? Let me know. And I hope you all are well. Okay. Bye.